Alright guys, I'm just doing a quick video and a trade recap from yesterday. I went on and this is more about being accountable with you. I fucked up an entry and I actually went on tilt and then I took a long into something that wasn't actually there, but I'm going to break down a price action on the currency futures triad, and then we can start to look. At the moment I'm basically doing this because we've had a large rain day yesterday and there was I was waiting for a long in this and it's no setup, and a lot of the assets are moving as one, and you know what that means? That means risk off sentiment, so things are going to start to become a little bit tricky to trade at the moment. Yeah, you can see all the index and the FX are moving as one. The VIX is at 19.6, so as soon as that reaches the 20, I need to switch models. But anyway, that being said, let's get into the trade breakdown. Yesterday, 16RR trade, I had it and I cancelled it stupidly, but let's revert back to what I was seeing, what I should have done differently, what I saw. Okay, so price opened up. This is what we opened up to, 6 a.m. We can see we had a weekly cycle, sequential SMT, had a bullish and a bearish, right? Bearing in mind the bonds are bearish, so the higher time frame narrative, dollar is going to get stronger, so we want this to go down. I knew all this information, and also I knew that if the SMT happens in Asia, you should disregard it and predominantly pick the one in London. See, the problem that I had was that we had this expansion off of Asia though. So I had immediately marked out 50%. What's that there? That's it there. So I'd immediately marked out 50%. Put a 6-hour mean reversion in there. If you watched my video yesterday, my stream. But we should know that whichever one is longer, so the greatest distance between the both highs or lows or whatever we're trading, that's sequential SMT I'm talking about, is the one we should be focusing our attention on. This is the first candle that broke anyway, so this could be, you know, I should have ignored this. And after a week of not sleeping properly, I don't think my brain was in a functioning state, to be honest, but we're all human. We have to make mistakes so we can grow from it. It was 7 a.m. It's time for liquidity to come into the market. Frankfurt open on the FX anyway. It's normally a Judas, right? And what I mean by that is that if this here, if it was 7 a.m. and we had, but 7 a.m. we had a high here, all assets were below, more often than not, 7 a.m. candle will sweep that and then 8 a.m. will start to run. Okay, that's how we look at it. But we've already swept loads of buy side liquidity here. This has all been swept liquidity, fueled a move back down. Okay, this 6-hour mean reversion is my break-even point, so that's when I go break-even. Let's play price. If you've been following me for long enough, you know that what happens, what I want to see. We drop down to the M1. We're looking for a microcycle above the 1 hour high. Okay, so we get that here. right? It's not actually, I said on the stream it was the first candle that broke. I thought that wick went above. It didn't. So you could enter, there's a precision swing point coming up in here. You could have been entered here. That was a precision swing point, stop above the high, lovely jubbly, right? Into the position. That's not the one I took though. I'll wait for a bit more confirmation because we had a gap above here, so I was like, okay, let's wait for a 15-second inversion here. So let's play price. Right, at this stage I was like, okay, so I'm not going to set an order here. This is well too big stop loss for me, because if we only get a mean reversion trade, right, if it only goes to the mean reversion, it was not worth the risk to reward. Okay, so I knew I wanted this to happen. I wanted price to go back up here, sweep this high, and then take this, invert this price. All right, that means we've got a protected high in here, and we can put our stop loss above this, and this should float down. I know I was saying this live on stream as well, and what happened, right, we can then begin to put in, right, stop loss above that. Right, my stop loss was down here, and the take profit at the moment, that was my break-even level, but just so we can get down there, let's see. Let's go out to the M1. Okay, so we're in the trade. This is that 6-hour mean reversion is only my break-even target. My initial target was the lows. Is Asia low here, and the reason being is because we have just swept all this liquidity. We've mitigated the 50% of the daily, so realistically this is our target down here, just below this low in the standard deviation. Right, let's play price. Right, you can see that we hit target. I'm gonna so that was, I think, the 16R that the trade I cancelled. Most annoying, but I went on tilt, and it's the first time I've done it in a long time. I just thought, oh fuck it, I'm going to take a long in here. Forgot all my signals, forgot everything. Let's go back to the M1. It was totally against my rules as well, because of this how the lower time frame had formed. So if you're aware of how I trade, we've got a single leg expansion here, single leg expansion, single leg expansion. I put an order in above this, yeah, to trade up. We were at the 6-hour mean reversion. We had a bullish weekly cycle, but I should have disregarded the bullish weekly cycle. There was a lot going on. I didn't really have a lot of sleep for the last 3 days, and my brain just wasn't working. But that's not an excuse. It's a lesson, you know, a lesson for my own trading, right? If I'm doing this, tired, then I should just stop and reevaluate and come back. And lessons learned, right? I took a loss in there, and I watched this all day painfully go down to my initial target when I was taking that trade, the short this morning. What we're seeing now is all the assets are now merging together, lockstep price action as we're going into. We did have a daily cycle here. All right, we've got 6S, 6B below the 6 hour, and we're above here. We didn't get no entry though. The first candle broke, need to wait for this. That was the inversion level here. Okay, so that was the level. I needed price to come back, give us a little something in here, and we could have taken that up. right idea, just no entry for us. I think price is going to come a little bit more tricky to trade now because of the VIX, lots of macro data. But anyway, that was a quick recording just of a trade breakdown, trade recap from yesterday and how I should have played it.